Yeah, I'm just a simple man making my way through the galaxy. They need to incorporate more memes like that.
Yeah, if the Obi-Wan Kenobi series doesn't have him saying, hello there, I'm revolting.
They need Moff Gideon to come in and be like, a surprise to be sure, but a welcome one.
They need Darth Vader to come in and say, I hope you don't choke on your aspirations.
Oh, should we keep going with more references?
Welcome to another episode of the Dads of Dagobah review The Mandalorian. Sean, I have a confession. Uh, I was so wrong last week. I went on and on about how we're not seeing Boba Fett ever again until the spin-off series. We're not seeing anyone else. We're not seeing him put the kid on the stone until the very end. Boy, we got right to it.
Yeah, we were before we hopped on here, we were texting earlier today, and I was joking about how the Dads of Dagobah bingo card needs to have a square of me complaining about how short the
The
Mandalorian episodes are.
episode.
Because you saw it before me, and then texted me, "Hey, when do you want to get on?" And I was like, "How long is the episode?" Because I needed to know how long I needed to schedule to watch it before we jumped on here. And you're like, "Oh, it's a really good long one." I'm like, "Oh, awesome!" I turned on Disney Plus, 32 or 33 minutes. I'm like, "What the? This was supposed to be a long one." But it felt all right because they broke the mold
Oh
on
yeah.
the episode and got right into it.
Well, I will say the ship did break down.
Well, not just break down. I mean, I don't think they're coming back from that one. I don't think Ando has enough Mon Calamari credits to repair the damages this week.
I was still waiting for the Jawas to come running in, trying to get all the scraps.
Can I just say though, and since you brought that up, I was incredibly surprised that the Razor Crest met its demise this week.
Uh-huh.
In fact, I'm like, is that the actual what the name of the episode is referencing? The tragedy?
The
Because I
lost
have to
ship
assume
instead
I
of the
have to assume
kidnapping of the child.
no, because I have to assume that they will rescue Grogu, but the Razor Crest seems to be gone forever.
Yeah.
That's the real tragedy here.
It is interesting that they will destroy it.
Just from a marketing standpoint, I mean, you're getting rid of kind of an iconic symbol that we've associated with this show,
I'm
but
just glad I didn't buy the Lego set. Well, I guess I don't have to buy that now.
no one wants the Razor Crest anymore. It doesn't even exist.
Well, let's start off with we get to the planet. He has to park a little ways off, bring Grogu to the place. Um, Interesting. I didn't really catch anything, any Easter eggy or anything, other than it seems very reminiscent of Luke and Rey on Octo when kind of on that stone meditating. Um, yeah, but then all of a sudden we see Slave One come flying in.
I was actually very surprised by that. When I saw that, I let out an audible intake of air, a gasp. My wife was like, "What?"
I don't
I'm like, "It's
understand
Boba Fett's ship."
why. How? How has he been tracking him?
So, listen, obviously, a major part of this episode, as you can see, my Christmas tree behind me and my green screen. If you're wondering what all those lights are behind my head, it's the Christmas tree. The major focal point of this episode is Boba Fett,
Oh yeah, 100%.
and the best parts of the episode are the highlights of Boba Fett, but there were also quite a few, I won't call them plot holes, but definitely questions in my mind of this doesn't make a whole lot of sense.
Drop your jetpack. Okay, why?
Yeah, well, even just with Boba Fett, I'm thinking he names Cobb Vanth. So he knows who that is from Tatooine and that Cobb Vanth had that armor. And I'm
Hmm.
like, this dude, Boba Fett, literally just took down a dozen or more stormtroopers by himself with melee attacks. And you're telling me he couldn't go get that armor from Cobb Vanth? Like, what was stopping him from getting the armor on Tatooine?
The Beskar. It's Beskar. I guess
Well,
the little gaffy stick, whatever it is, doesn't affect Beskar.
yeah, but I have to think that Boba Fett would have been resourceful enough
Yeah,
to
yeah.
get it. Because he's now tracking down Mando, who also is in full Beskar armor, to say, I need that armor.
I'm
And
just glad Mulan came back. I thought that was great.
Mulan's back, Fennec, Shand, or Shard, or I don't know,
Uh,
Fennec something.
are we getting the whole gang back together?
Obviously, we are. Bill Burr's coming back. And let me just say that I wasn't expecting. Let me just stick on Boba Fett for a second. So, why couldn't he get the armor from Cobb Vanth? The other weird thing with Boba Fett was I felt like he. Well, never mind. That actually does make sense. I just talked myself out of that one. Anyway, so I thought there were a couple things with Boba Fett that I'm like, okay, so the other one, like you said, he has the Slave One. And I'm like, so has he been on Tatooine all this time since getting out of the Sarlacc pit? Or has he actually, when we saw him on Tatooine, was that him returning to Tatooine for the first time?
Then why does he pick?
And how does he find them on Tython?
Yeah,
Anyway,
did he
I
talk to Ahsoka? Because Ahsoka's the only one who knows. Does
yeah,
he have a relationship with Ahsoka?
I don't know, but it can't have been that he heard from the Empire channels because Boba Fett clearly is surprised that the Empire is back when
Mm-hmm.
he sees the cruiser at
Mm-hmm.
the end of the episode.
They're back.
So it's news to him, a surprise to him that the Empire is still around.
Yeah, a lot of questions.
Anyway,
But I will say, an amazing episode.
oh,
Like, what are we in for the next two or three?
I 100%, like we said last week, thought that the events that happened in this episode was going to be the season finale.
Yes.
I thought in episode 8, the last episode of the season, I thought that is when we would finally get to Tython and place Grogu on the Seeing Stone. Um, and the fact that we got there, like you said, no opposition, the ship didn't break down, we didn't have to take a detour and do some sort of side quest on the way. We just got there. He put him on the Seeing Stone. Um, I kind of, that opening sequence of Mando saying Grogu, Grogu, to get him to kind of make his noise and stuff and laughing and playing with them. I'm like, this is awesome, like good relationship building stuff here. Um, but I agree with you. I think it's interesting to see these early Jedi temples, Octo and The Last Jedi and Rise of Skywalker, and then Tython here in The Mandalorian, that they're just kind of more than anything, just kind of natural,
Mm-hmm.
almost like natural wonders or just kind of landmarks that the Jedi or early Force wielders use to commune with the Force.
Yeah.
Definitely interesting to see Grogu obviously doing whatever, reaching out with the Force and creating that energy field or whatever he was creating, that channel. And I was like, who's sensing him? Is he
Yeah.
talking to anybody? What's happening right now?
That's just Cal Kestis. Cal Kestis is at a safe point, needs to heal up a little bit, trying to redeem his skill points. And he's talking to Grogu.
Could be Cal Kestis. I mean, it could be anybody at this point. There's no rules for Jon Favreau. He'll do anything at this point.
Okay, did you see the meme? There were so many from this past week, but one of my favorites was when Luke is leaving Dagobah, and Yoda and Obi-Wan are talking, and Yoda's still worried about Luke, and they say there is another. And everyone assumed it was Leia. No, it's Grogu. Grogu is the other.
Well, it's Grogu and Ahsoka and Cal Kestis and Ezra Bridger.
Yep, all of them.
there's a gaggle of Jedi out there. Yeah, but I thought the Force Channel thing, like obviously we didn't get a lot of answers with it. I'll be curious to see in the next 2 episodes if Grogu was able to reach anybody. Are we going to see a Jedi come to Tython? But then obviously no one's going to be there, so it'll be interesting to see how that unfolds. But yeah, let's get to a little bit to the action sequence with Boba Fett. It was savage.
Oh man,
he was like full. I feel like and Tamura Morrison I felt like he was kind of bringing in the kind of Polynesian heritage of like doing the haka on these people.
I loved it.
And just the imagery of him like shattering the skull or the stormtrooper helmets and stuff, and it was like bashed in and crumpled. I was like, oh my goodness, this is brutal.
It was similar to not Jarrett from Rogue One, the blind guy.
Yeah, Chirrut.
Yeah, Jarrett. How he just owned all those stormtroopers is very similar. And can we just say, this is probably the grossest incompetence of stormtroopers I've ever seen. They care only about the child. Did they fire a shot at Boba Fett one time?
Yeah, they only fired at Fennec when at long range.
Mm-hmm.
But plenty of time for Boba Fett to focus on one guy, take him out, turn around, another guy's running at him. I'm like, why are you running full speed at him? Why don't you just stand?
He's using a melee weapon and you have a range weapon.
You're standing 10 feet back. Don't rush him. Just stand there and shoot. But that would be a much less entertaining episode, Joseph. So I'm glad that they didn't choreograph an action scene like that. Yeah. But and then how did you feel about Boba Fett donning his armor?
Okay, here's a question. Whose jetpack is he wearing? He's wearing Boba Fett's jetpack, right?
Yes. Because we saw Cobb Vanth had it in Chapter 9.
So what was the point of taking off the jetpack for Mando?
I have no idea, but I don't understand right when the stormtroopers came and they started to like get in position why he didn't immediately pick it back up and put it on. Because he's running up and down that mountain like 6 times in this episode. I'm like, why are you like doing the Stairmaster here and running back up this hill? Get the jetpack. And didn't we see in like Chapter 10 or something that he has some sort of digital thing where that thing will come to him?
Come back to him?
Like remote control, like summon the Accio jetpack on this thing and get it back and then go get Grogu. Like, what are you doing right now?
I just didn't understand also, he attempted to get into the force field 3 times. Did he do anything different on the second or third attempt? No, it just seemed like he grunted harder.
More determination. And the irony is that the 3rd time he tried, he's like, okay, I'm going to protect you. I'll be right back.
Gone.
A half a second after he's out of line of sight of Grogu finishes. And he's like, oh, I'm done. Actually, you could take me right now.
Finish.
And you know what? I'm going to take a quick nap right here, power nap. I'll just see you when I get up. Okay, here we go.
I think it finally has bit him in the butt. We've complained all season about how he just leaves Grogu behind. And
I can't blame him too much because after 3 times of getting through that force field, he probably thought, well, he's probably safe in there. I don't think anyone's getting to him. He just didn't anticipate that Grogu would turn the force field off literally seconds.
Okay, well, the force field can be seen from I mean, everyone could see it.
That's
So you could
true.
just looked up and been like, oh, he's done.
That's true.
The big bright light is off.
Can I tell you another thing I loved about Boba Fett and his armor?
The little pistol swirl, putting it into his,
No.
it's like his daddy.
I mean, that was nice, but the best thing about Boba Fett and his armor,
Shooting the ships out of the sky, hitting one, but taking them both out.
nope.
Oh,
Do you want to keep guessing?
the skirt.
No. It was that Boba Fett instantly made it possible for me to go as him next Halloween because Boba Fett was rocking the dad bod in his armor. He kind of had the beer gut, a little bit heavier set in the belly. The armor's kind of resting on a little bit more of a chubby, pudgy Boba Fett, not quite like he was 7 or 8 years ago in Return of the Jedi. He's been eating too many Ronto wraps or something, and so yeah, he had a little gut on him, and I'm like, he's kind of got the dad bod happening right
No
now
shame.
with his armor.
No shame.
I loved it.
Yeah.
And also, can we talk about how Mulan had a little case of droid belly going on? What was? Are you telling me Boba Fett was some sort of medical mastermind where he turned her into some sort of hybrid cyborg droid, patched her stomach up, and made it a machine? Did you see that part?
No.
Where because Mando's like, I thought you were dead or whatever. She's like, oh yeah, well he saved me, and she lifts up this bandage on her stomach, and it's all mechanical on her stomach.
Oh, that's what that was.
I was like, how did Boba Fett do that? I guess that actually, who cares about the answer to that question? Because the real question is, why didn't we get a flashback of Boba Fett getting out of the Sarlacc pit?
Yeah.
I think we might still get it. We could get it in the next 1 or 2 episodes if they're flying on Slave One. They have to talk about something.
Yeah.
Boba Fett could give a whole recount of.
We had the Cobb Vanth flashback,
Don't want to go back to Tatooine. I got bad memories there. I spent 6 years in the Sarlacc pit. Let me tell you how I got out. And then we get a whole sequence flashback scene.
Well, the interesting part, of course, the climax of the episode is when Moff Gideon shows up and in one shot destroys the ship, doing what I feel like the Empire should do every time they show up to a planet, and yet they never learn.
Well, that's what's so funny about the Empire is that they'll do things like that, which is incredibly competent and smart and strategic, but a whole squadron of stormtroopers were completely incompetent, boots on the ground. Like, what's going on?
And why did they shoot Slave One when it was flying right at them?
Well, see, I think that I don't think when Moff Gideon shot the Razor Crest, I don't think he knew that Slave One was down there or that Boba Fett was down there. He's only tracking the Razor Crest. And then I don't know. I don't know what the population is like on Tython, or if there's other ships or civilization or communities or colonies or anything, because maybe they thought that Slave One was just a passing ship, and Slave One didn't attack them, and the Slave One didn't attack the Dark Troopers either. It just was flying by.
That's true.
Maybe they thought not just a random ship. No threat from Slave One.
We get our first real look at the Dark Troopers. Really fun, look cool, very similar to what people were saying they would be, which are very powerful battle droids, right? But not battle droids, but
yeah, they're definitely droids.
Right.
And yes, I have been seeing a growing consensus that people think that maybe they are made out of Beskar. and so they're going to be pretty formidable opponents if our heroes, our band of heroes, tries to fight them. It won't be easy to take them down. That'd be interesting to see. Um, but yeah, so the Dark Troopers take Grogu back to the Imperial cruiser, and I found it interesting when we see at the end of the episode Moff Gideon go into Grogu's holding cell that our little baby Yoda, baby Grogu, has no qualms tapping into the dark side, as he is in Rise of Skywalker Palpatine fashion. He is ragdolling these stormtroopers, just
No
like
problem
Palpatine was
whatsoever.
ragdolling Ben Solo and Rey before he forgot that he could do that.
Force choking, and yeah.
I mean, that. I think the most display of power have seen Grogu do is from Chapter 2 in Season 1 when he stopped that Mudhorn from charging. That was a big animal that he stopped. But other than that, I felt like we only see him do little tiny things. I'm like, when's he going to do something super powerful like the Mudhorn thing? And I feel like this episode, we saw the most power we've seen out of him.
Yeah. I think he does the force healing of Carl Weathers. Then he does the fire stop.
Oh, yeah, he does that.
That's about it for Season 1.
Yeah, he force chokes Cara Dune.
Oh, that's right, yes. Force chokes Cara Dune. And then he forces over the little ball and the blue macaron.
Yeah.
And now he's force choking and dragged on stormtroopers left and right.
Yeah.
So our theory of, and I feel like a lot of people's theory of him tapping into the dark side after having watched Mando do so many, not dark side things, but violent things. Well,
yeah. So it'll be interesting. I mean, we also learned from Boba Fett that Jango was a foundling.
That was interesting.
So I'm pretty sure that puts that kind of question to rest about was they actually Mandalorian.
Have we heard before that Jango fought in the Mandalorian Civil War? Is that new?
I think that might be new. Yeah, I don't know though. I mean, first of all, I think this whole episode does something interesting, which is it validates the public opinion that many fans had about Boba Fett, even though we had never had any evidence of that before this episode.
That he's one of the coolest villains?
Yeah, just that he was such a cool character from the original trilogy, but really when you look at it at face value, he's a non-factor in the original trilogy. He doesn't do a whole lot. I mean,
he doesn't even really capture Han Solo.
No, Vader captures
he just
Solo
tracks him
and gives him to Boba Fett, and then Boba Fett mostly stands around and then is pretty incompetent in Return of the Jedi at the skirmish at Jabba's barge in the Dune Sea at the Sarlacc pit.
But yeah, so everyone thinks he's the coolest, and then they look up their top 10 Star Wars villains, and then he's the number one villain on every list.
Yeah, so I mean, it's just interesting because in Legends he had some stories that like validated that he was an awesome character and stuff like that, but really we haven't ever had any evidence to point to him being worthy of this reputation that the fans have given him. And now obviously Jon Favreau and Dave Filoni are like, okay, let's match the reputation to some actual skill set and events here in the show, which was cool. But it was interesting to hear too, we learned that armor is Jango's armor. He says that was this armor belonged to my father. So, he must have taken it off of Geonosis and repainted it or done something to it to make it different color scheme, but...
Oh, I missed that part. I just saw the chain coat he had on there, but I guess, that makes sense. It is his dad's. Huh.
Anyway.
What do you think is going to happen? Is it 2 more episodes or 3 more? I think it's just 2 more, right?
I think we have 2 more. we get the little kind of throwaway but not throwaway scene kind of teasing what's happening next, which is they go back to Navarro and the Slave One as the Razor Crest is destroyed, except for the ball. Oh yeah, he gets the ball out of the wreckage and he gets the Beskar pike, which I think is leading to a Mando Moff Gideon showdown. Mando with the pike, Gideon with the Darksaber.
Oh yeah.
Two non-force users, but with some powerful melee weapons.
Yeah, not lightsabers clashing, but still be fun.
Yeah. So yeah, they go back to Navarro to see Cara Dune, who's now part of the New Republic. And they look up Bill Burr's character, whatever that guy's name was, from the prison episode. And I'm like, we're bringing back Bill Burr, huh? All right. Interesting choice.
Who else was locked up with them? Was the lady and the red guy locked up with them?
I think all of that group was, except for the droid. That was still on the Razor Crest or whatever.
The droid is now completely destroyed, right?
Yeah. The droid's remains were in the Razor Crest, so he gone.
It's interesting how they keep bringing back people you think are gone. Like, I did not see Boba Fett coming back this episode, of all places.
Yeah, I not only did he come back, but
and then he got back. I wish I knew her name. I just know her as Mulan.
Fennec.
Bring her back too, which I know a lot of fans were happy about because they felt like she was
kind of wasted,
utilized in the first season.
Yeah. Well, I mean, it's interesting they're building this cast of characters that in season 1 it seemed like these were throwaway one episode little cameo guest star roles. Now it's like, oh, okay. It probably serves the show well to obviously have some continuity and some consistency in who you're seeing.
So are we going to get the Frog Lady back?
She better be back. She's going to do those force leaping she was doing.
Is there any character? Here's a question for you. Is there any character that we haven't had a callback yet in any of the 2 seasons? So like we had, what's his name? The little short guy. He came back for the finale of season 1, saving the child, but he died.
Oh, the Ugnaught Quill? Yeah.
Quill. IG-11 came back. So I guess now the Prison Break episode, we're getting those people back.
You know who hasn't come back is the little fishing village lady that he almost took off his helmet for. The love interest.
Yeah, we haven't seen her at all.
But that was the episode that we were introduced to Cara Dune.
Mm-hmm.
So obviously she's been a regular.
Yeah.
But anyway, I just feel like, obviously, so the next 2 episodes, we're going to be tracking down Moff Gideon and trying to rescue Grogu. Is this like everyone he's met along the way, let's all band together and we're going to, like Ocean's 11, have this heist movie now? Or let's bring back Ahsoka and let's bring back the Prison Break people and Grief Karga and Cara Dune can come. And now we got Boba Fett and Fennec on our side.
And Cobb Vanth.
Let's go get Cobb Vanth. Like, yeah, I mean, are we going to get all these people and we're all going to work together to rescue Grogu? Is that how this is going?
And the repair shop lady.
the pit droid lady. Frog lady. Let's get Frog lady in there. Oh, Bo-Katan. The Mandalorians.
Oh, of course.
We got to get Bo-Katan. I mean... So I just feel like I'm curious to see how this is going to go because to me it might be a little bit silly if we bring all those people back Bo-Katan, let's go. Oh, and Ahsoka too, and everyone.
Okay, are we seeing a Jedi? Are we in the final 2 episodes? Are we getting a Jedi?
I think I'm starting to feel like it's unlikely because we're going to leave Tython, or we've already left Tython.
Uh-huh.
So if we do get a Jedi, it might be like the last shot of the last episode is like a teaser for season 3 of like, oh, somebody showed up to Tython. Now at the end of the last episode, someone showing up, walking up. We don't even see a face. We just see Boots, similar to the Boba Fett reveal in season 1. We just see Boots walking up to the Seeing Stone, and someone putting their hand on, and it's a robot hand because it's Luke Skywalker. And all of a sudden you hear R2D2 beeping behind him, and then you see just the hood, and he pulls it back, but he doesn't show his face. Oh, am I Jon Favreau right now? Did I just write the season finale of The Mandalorian?
See, I'm thinking it's gonna a little person gonna walk up, put their hand on the stone, and it's got a bunch of bracelets and it's orange, and it'll be Maz just saying, "Where's my Wookiee boyfriend Chewie?" I'll be like, it's her again.
Or they could tease it by a little droid hopping up on the Seeing Stone, little BD-1.
Ooh.
Cal Kestis' little sidekick. Yeah, I don't know. Do you think we'll see?
Or it could be someone walk up to the stone and they put their hand down and it's blue and it's Thrawn.
It's Thrawn. Or you see somebody walk up, long white beard, okay, puts his hand on the stone, and then he goes, "Huh? Harry, did you put your name in the Goblet of Fire?" And it's Dumbledore.
Or it could be someone that comes up with a big, long, white beard, and they put their hand on it, and he says, "You fool of a took!"
Could be that too.
Hand off the white.
Could be. These are all plausible.
Hey, we're just
For those of you who are still watching, no, I think that if we see a Jedi, it's going to be a tease for the next one. I don't think it's going to be a significant plot point for the rest of this. But anyway, any other observations or questions from this episode?
So, Baby Yoda, Grogu is the donor.
Mm-hmm.
That's what they call him, right? I guess that doctor, I assume that doctor is the same doctor we've seen in the other episodes.
Yeah, I think so too.
The donor. Donor for Sidious? Donor for Snoke? Donor for what? Donor for Moff Gideon? It was interesting how cavalier Moff Gideon was walking into there when stormtroopers were getting ragdolled, and he didn't seem to care.
He almost was like on the verge of doing like baby talk with him. He was like very, like weirdly giddy with him. It's kind of strange.
Yeah. Like, what does he know that we don't know? Why is he so confident walking in there knowing that... Well, and then it was not cute, but kind of evil. It was like, nah, and how much you need a little nap afterwards. Or how sleepy you get, or whatever he said to him.
Yeah.
I don't like this. And then he's in handcuffs. That's no fun.
Yeah, I think that we're going to get a 2-part season finale where we are trying to rescue Grogu. That's the only... I mean, I am surprised that not only did we get Boba Fett this episode, but we got basically the confirmation and reveal that, Boba Fett will continue to be in the show because he now feels like he's in debt to Mando, and until they rescue the child, Boba Fett's like part of the team.
That's so cool.
So I mean, I think they have a good dynamic here of they have plenty of characters at this point to rotate through on this little, revolving A-team of Star Wars heroes that they can use in this show.
Yeah. Well, with that, if you enjoyed this video, please like, subscribe if you feel like we've earned a subscription. Leave a comment down below and tell us what you think the Jedi will be. Actually, that was last week's. How about this week you leave us a comment about, I don't know, trying to get a good thing for them to comment?
Yeah, let's hear people's thoughts on
You
Well,
don't have
I don't
anything either.
have anything either. I still think that a good question is, will we see a Jedi? Did Grogu?
We've now got 2 episodes. Last week we thought this would be the finale, but no. Now we've got 2 episodes to get a Jedi in. Well, are we going to see one?
Yeah, did Grogu connect with anybody? And if so, who was it?
What skill points did he redeem, and what new force power did he learn on the respawn point? And with that, Sean, this is the way.
We have spoken. We'll see you next time on Dads of Dagobah.
See ya.
Bye.